केवल पश्चिमी शहरों जो पश्चिमी दिशा में यूक्रेन के शहर हैं वो जरूर कुछ बच गए हैं जिनकी जो असल में पोलैंड की तरफ लगी हुई सीमा है यूक्रेन के, लेकिन अगर
Hello and a very warm welcome to this special. We are building up to the big game today and also giving you tips on your Fantasy 11. The game that is coming up in the evening is Delhi Capitals versus Lucknow Super Giants. Lucknow Super Giants have won 2 out of their 3 games that they played so far. Delhi have played 2 games, have won 1 and lost 1. Also, when you look at the 2 sides and how they've been performing so far, KL Rahul definitely the happier of the 2 captains, because when it comes to Delhi's batting, it hasn't been able to fire up to its potential. Also the bowling, there are some concerns in that as well. The good news though for Delhi Capitals is that David Warner is back, and I think he will be drafted into that playing 11 straight away, given what a big IPL player he's been. Also, Andrik Nokia seems to be fit, so will he also come straight in? Lots to discuss here. Also, we've got to find out as to what Lucknow Super Giants need to do now to continue that momentum of having won 2 games straight up. So lots to discuss. Let's take you through the playing 11 first, likely playing 11 for the 2 teams, and then get into the conversation. So likely playing 11, let's go with Lucknow Super Giants. KL Rahul there, the captain of the side. And if you're playing Fantasy 11 today, he has to be there, possibly the captain as well, though I haven't gone in for him as the captain, but vice captain. We'll get you all the latest on that later on. But Quinton de Kock, he's in some mood to fire, which we've seen in his batting. Evan Lewis as well. Marcus Stoinis is also likely to come back in, so that he's in our likely playing 11. Then there is Deepak Hooda. He's been brilliant. 250s out of the 3 games, chipped in with a wicket. Has been good in fielding in the deep. So yeah, Ayush Badoni, again the find of the tournament so far for me. He is there. Then there is Krunal Pandya. Jason Holder turned the match around against Sunrisers Hyderabad. 3 wickets in an over to hand Lucknow Super Giants their win. Then there is Ankit Rajput, who's there, Ravi Bishnoi and Avesh Khan. And I think that's where the problem is, that Avesh Khan has been bowling well. It's good to have Jason Holder, but Ankit Rajput needs to come good as well, because Avesh Khan, I feel, is fighting a lone battle there.
I know. I mean, they have a very good batting unit. The bowling seems to be at tad weak, because Avesh Khan, he's been brilliant in the death overs, Meya, but they have no one else. Holder is there now, but they need a backup bowler. They also need someone to help Avesh in the power play. So bowling is the weak link, it seems, for the Lucknow Super Giants. The batting also, Rahul 40 and 68, failed in 1 match, so he's carrying on in his form. Quinton de Kock has done well in only 1 match out of the 3 matches they have played. So and potentially Rahul and QDK are the most formidable opening pair. Yeah. In terms of complete batsmanship in this IPL. So I think they need to fire. Evan Lewis has shown us in the first match what he's capable of, that brilliant 55 versus CSK. And then,
now, just one second. For the people who are wondering where did Manish Pandey go, we don't have Manish Pandey in that playing 11. If Lucknow Super Giants want to win from here on, I think they need to see this, because what ends up happening with Manish Pandey being in that batting lineup is that you have Ayush Badoni coming later down, way lower down in the order. Krunal Pandya, Jason Holder. You'd want to give Jason Holder more overs to bat. So yes, get a bowler. For all you know, I mean, if you want a spinner, get Krishnappa Gautam instead of Ankit Rajput. But yes, this seems like a potent
this is more balanced.
Batting.
You're right.
Yeah.
I mean, there is no play. See, Manish Pandey hasn't set the stage on fire, Meya.
Yeah.
And he's not at his best now. So
I also think because it's such a deep batting,
you don't need him. I mean, you have Holder coming at 7. So why do you need Manish Pandey? There's Stoinis. Stoinis is a fantastic all-rounder. He's the floater. He can bat 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. He can strike above 150. He can pick wickets with his right arm, medium fast bowling. And you have Lewis. You have Deepak Hooda, 250s form of his life. Badoni, the find for them. Krunal Pandya, another all-rounder. Holder. So there's no place for Manish Pandey. The bowling is still the weak link. Bishnoi has done well, although he just picked 2 wickets in 3 matches. So he's been fairly restricted, just above 7 per over, but he's not really been at his devastating best, like we've seen in the last IPL. So a lot of pressure on Avesh Khan in that bowling line.
Also, Ravi Bishnoi now, teams are learning to play him, not in the sense that they can particularly figure out what he's doing, but to go defensive against him.
Yeah.
And that's another reason why opposition always looks to bat him out, not go for their big shots and then target one of the other bowlers. So in this case, yes, Ravi Bishnoi may not have got the wickets, but he has been very restrictive when it comes to the runs. Okay, let's take a look at Delhi Capitals' possible likely 11. David Warner comes straight in. He's here with the team. Rishabh Pant, of course, the captain, fired in the last game, but Prithvi Shaw hasn't done well, and we've taken Yash Dul in place of Mandeep Singh. And in all probability, I think that number 3 place is important, and nobody has been able to really give them stability there. So Mandeep Singh is there. There is, of course, there is Yash Dul, who is in all likelihood coming in place of Mandeep Singh. Then there is Lalit Yadav. After the first game, hasn't really got runs. There Robman Powell as well. Again, good strike rate, got some runs, but haven't been able to do well for them. Akshar Patel, I don't know. There's also Shardul Thakur. Now, that's the other thing. Who comes in place of Shardul Thakur? Because he was expensive in the 2 games that he's played, hasn't got wickets. Then there is Kuldeep Yadav, and Anrik Nokia comes in, and that will be brilliant for them. I mean, he's really been missed. He's somebody we know the kind of difference that he can make to a team, and Anrik Nokia right now is being missed by Delhi Capitals. So if he comes in, that's a big, big boost for them. And then there is Mustafizur Rahman, who in the first game that he played, picked up 3 wickets.
Yeah, I mean, for me, Warner and Nokia coming back is huge.
Yeah.
It's absolutely huge. Warner, after how he was treated by SRH, you know, he has a point to prove. I think he's going to strike big. Yes, he's missed a few matches, but he's going to score some big runs. And, you know, his presence at the top of the order is going to boost his Delhi Capitals lineup, which, you know, hasn't, you know, yet performed to its potential. It had, you know, in Pant, Shaw, it had some, you know, it had a devastating, you know, 3 of the top 4, but it hasn't done that well yet, but only 2 matches. So I think we should not jump to conclusions. Warner and Nokia. Nokia with the new ball, we all know he was the best new ball bowler in the UAE leg. Absolutely devastating, 145 at your throat, body line. So I think, you know, those 2 inclusions will be brilliant. For me, Meha, one problem I see of Delhi Capitals this year has been the form of Akshar Patel. Akshar Patel hasn't picked any wickets yet, and he's gone at above 8 per over. Akshar Patel was the unsung hero in the last few seasons. He was retained for a big sum. Akshar Patel also, you know, he picked up 15-16 wickets at a very restrictive economy rate. So he was the hero for Delhi Capitals, and this year he hasn't started well. Although his batting in the first match was excellent, that cameo, but the bowling hasn't done well.
Yeah, which is the other concern for them, for Delhi as well, that not only is their batting firing other than Rishabh Pant, I mean, you haven't had Prithvi Shaw get runs. Again, number 3 position, they're not able to figure out because they had Mandeep Singh, hasn't done much. And you saw what happened to Tim David. He was made to sit out by Mumbai Indians. Dual Brevis was brought in. So changes need to be made in this Delhi Capitals, because it's not just them not performing for the team, but they just don't look good in that position. You know, and so to get that stability, given that, in fact, even lower down the order, you don't have a big name player as a finisher. And so you're wondering whether, you know, at 3 you need somebody stronger. Of course, they're all waiting for Mitchell Marsh as well.
Yeah.
And, you know, if he comes in, the team changes. But then when does he come in? There is a question mark over there. So that is the other thing. But David Warner also has a point to prove, not just because of how he was treated by Sunrisers Hyderabad, and we saw what he did in the T20 World Cup, but also because he's just gone unsold in the 100. So, you know, we've seen what David Warner can do. And so, yeah, David Warner is one person that if you are playing Fantasy 11, you would want to punt on. Okay, with that, let's come to the Fantasy 11. This is our team for today. I've gone for some safe bets, some safe players, and then some differential picks. So get straight into it. Let's start then with the captain. I've gone in with Jason Holder as the captain. Again, now, for all of you who are playing Fantasy 11, I'm sure once the toss happens, you change it around depending on who's batting first and who's bowling, because some of those players get changed. But Jason Holder, I would think if if Manish Pandey is not playing, I would think Jason Holder will go up the order slightly. You have one batsman, so the spot goes up. So, you know,
it's multi-dimensional.
You've got a person who can bat, a person who can bowl in death overs with the new ball. So Jason Holder there. Then moving on to the next player, we've gone with KL Rahul.
Run machine.
Of course, run machine. Strike rate can be a problem, especially in the last game, the way we saw, you know, but then also the pitch was such, but he is who he is. So KL Rahul is always a good bet as the vice captain. Then there is, do you agree with this?
I mean, I agree with Holder. It's a good choice. Again, multi-dimensional, and also he's a consistent multi-dimensional player. Like, he'll give you your 4 overs, 25 runs, pick 1 or 2 wickets, very good in the death overs, and also he'll make those 20, 30 runs in 15, 20 balls. So strike rate will always be good. And these sort of players earn a lot of points in the fantasy league. So it's a very good choice as captain, Jason Holder. KL Rahul, I mean, how can you not have the most prolific run scorer since 2018 in the lineup? I mean, no one has scored more runs than him in the IPL. I mean, he is an IPL run machine, Mr. IPL, so he has to be there. So
okay, so then KL Rahul, the vice captain, then the batsman, wicket-keeper, Rishabh Pant, of course, comes in. Rishabh Pant, just with that strike rate yesterday, if you had Pat Cummins in your side and if you'd made him the captain, I didn't, but I did have him in my playing 11, and you saw the number of points you got, because if you're striking at 340, which is what where Pat Cummins was doing yesterday, then you get a lot of points. And so you can expect when Rishabh Pant gets going like that, you can expect similar kind of, well, that kind of
saw against
a long
CSK.
way.
He has the 3rd highest strike rate, you know, in T20I cricket history. He's a fantastic, you know, hitter of the ball. Just because he's not big build, people think, you know, he's not in the same, same caliber as Andre Russell and Kieron Pollard, not the same league, but he is a very destructive left-hander at the top of the order.
Okay, then let's move on to Evan Lewis. If we can put Evan Lewis up, and like Nikhil said, Evan Lewis, destructive when he gets going. And how many West Indians have we seen do that or play that kind of innings already? You know, with Evan Lewis, O'Dean Smith, Sherfin Rutherford, slightly slow, but then that was the need of the hour. And then, of course, Andre Russell, Kieron Pollard last night. Was it last night? Yes. So a lot of West Indians, as they've done already in the tournament, expect some runs from Evan Lewis yet again. Okay. Then let's talk about who is the next player. The next player on this is by far for me the player, the find of the tournament already. Ayush Badoni just has looked good. There was a noise around him. You know, Gautam Gambhir taking him from Delhi, saying I've got to have him as a member of LSG. And he's repaid that faith. He's been scoring runs. He's also looked good in the middle, fearless against some of top fast bowlers, and it was fantastic to watch him. So Ayush Badoni.
Yeah, Ayush Badoni has been the find, at least for this team. You know, just another of those youngsters, no fear, coming out to bat, striking the ball cleanly, and coming out to bat under pressure when they've lost early wickets. I mean, the best crumble under that sort of situation, but he is not. He's looked good. He has a lot of time to play his shots, which you don't say that for rookie batsman Meya. He's had a lot of time to play his shots, all the shots in the book, and this is a product of scouting. I mean, Gautam Gambhir has just picked him out of nowhere in Delhi, fought with the management, and he is, I think this guy, very soon we'll see him in India colours in the next couple of years. Okay,
let's now then look at the next player, and we've gone in with Akshar Patel. Hasn't got the wickets as we expected, but that's the differential pick, because we've seen what Akshar Patel can also do. We've seen him demolish batters, so I would think Akshar Patel is one of the choices for us, but I also think that I might want to change Akshar Patel depending on toss. So
I think Akshar Patel has also sort of been unlucky. He's bowled to a number of left-handers, and with the ball going in, they've taken him to the cleaners. I think Akshar Patel is a very clever bowler. He's been very consistent in the IPL.
Yeah.
He seldom goes for above 6, 6.5. So I'm a little surprised he's gone for above 8 so far in the tournament. Still very early days. He hasn't picked up a wicket yet, but I expect Akshar to do well. He's done brilliantly for
I
India.
have a choice between Akshar Patel and Khalil Ahmed.
I'll go with Akshar.
And because of how well Khalil has also been bowling, it's been a great start for him as well, I would think, that, because he's picked up 2 wickets in both the games.
But
so maybe
also.
Khalil Ahmed. I know Akshar bats as well, but maybe Khalil Ahmed, but that'll depend on the toss. Do you agree with our Fantasy 11? Let us know in the comments section. So we move on then to who has been the most consistent performer for LSG so far, and that is Deepak Hooda. Again, brilliant form in domestic cricket. Deepak Hooda has come into this IPL with a point to prove, and prove he did. It's just 3 games, but he has stood out with his performance in 2 of them. And something that Gautam Gambhir and the team management would be very happy about, because he is really playing to his potential and shows what he can do.
Yeah, 250s at a very high strike rate. India have still not solved that problem of an all-rounder. Hardik is not there in the contention anymore.
Yeah.
And Venkatesh Iyer has done well, but I think Venkatesh Iyer doesn't have, that aura, that destructive prowess in the lower order that Hardik had. But Deepak Hooda does. Deepak Hooda, he's played 1 or 2 matches for India. Deepak Hooda, the way he's striking the ball is a very dangerous, lower order batsman. And of course, he can chip in with his bowling also. So Deepak Hooda for me, is someone in the contention even for the Indian 11.
Okay, then next up is Mustafizur Rahman, because of how he bowled in the last game. And, when you have to pick, especially for bowlers bowling in the power play, Mustafizur Rahman is the apt bowler in the conditions that we've seen so far. Also, as we've seen, the trend being fast bowlers doing well in the power plays.
Yeah.
So Mustafizur is a very good bet.
Also a left arm adds variety to the attack. So yeah, Mustafizur, I think last game performance, the only game he's played, he walks into the side.
Okay, then who else? Well, the standout bowler then for Lucknow Super Giants, who went from, in fact, DC to Lucknow Super Giants, and that is Avesh Khan. And as we've done, it'll be interesting to see how Avesh Khan plays against DC, because we've seen what Yuzvendra Chahal did against RCB. And I wonder how players take to this, because they're part of a side. Do they feel disappointed that they weren't retained? Do they feel disappointed that they didn't come back to the side? It's an interesting thing. Next time I get any of these players to interview, that's one thing I'm going to ask them, that, how do you feel playing against, I know they're professional cricketers, but I'm sure there is some attachment there.
There is a connection with the player and the franchise. Certain players excel for certain franchises and don't do well for certain. I think Ishan Kishan and Mumbai Indians is a classic example. Ishan Kishan, I don't think will do that well for any other franchise. He is Mumbai Indians. There is something about him which makes him part of the larger setup of Mumbai Indians, an alliance setup. And therefore, similarly, Glenn Maxwell, look at him for Punjab Kings. Now he's just a natural fit for RCB.
Right.
So therefore, I think, Avesh Khan, I don't know, but it's always interesting that if you, after you've done well and if a franchise doesn't retain, then you have a point to prove. And I think Avesh Khan could, give the Delhi Capitals batsmen, a hard time, especially in the death overs today.
Okay, then News 9 Sports is where you need to be if you want to watch videos from the world of sports, not just cricket. We get you all the latest from not just IPL, but like I said, other sports, athletics, golf, tennis, you name it, badminton. We've got you videos covering those sports as well. So News 9 Sports is what you need to subscribe to. Okay, then last player is Ravi Bishnoi. Now again, oppositions are being defensive against him. He's not getting as many wickets, but he's still unplayable, and I'll still bet on him.
Yeah, absolutely. See, Ravi Bishnoi, his stock delivery is not the conventional leg break, but the wrong gun, the googly. So a lot of batsmen, especially overseas batsmen, don't read him well at all. They don't read him off the hand. They see him off the pitch, and therefore they're defensive against him in the middle overs. He has a decent economy rate, 7.25, but that's also the reason he's not picking wickets like he was last year. They were going after him in the middle overs last year, therefore he picked more wickets. But early days, I think his wicket tally column will only rise as the tournament progresses.
That's right. So that is the Fantasy 11 for us. What do you think? Do you think you will change the captain or the vice captain? Do let us know. Also, do you have these players in your 11, or are there some other players? Have you gone in with Quinton de Kock? I mean, just let us know what you think. And also, which is the team that you're supporting, whether it is Lucknow or DC. Now, there are 4 teams that we spoke about before the IPL began, and DC and Lucknow were both the teams that we said would go all the way to the playoffs. Do you agree? Even after 12 or 13 days of having seen all the teams play in this IPL 2022. So lots to discuss here. Let us know your comments, your suggestions, your questions if you have any to us, and do join us at 6:30, which is when we go live on TV9 Bharatvarsh and TV9 UP Uttarakhand in Hindi. We'll build up to the match there. So if you're interested in watching us, do join us then there. And also at 7 o'clock, we will be back here on our socials, Facebook and YouTube. So you can come back and just be part of this show. That's it from Nikhil and me. Goodbye. Thanks for watching.